hopefully, in a moment over there. Now, if I go back into here, okay, we're streaming over there now. Good. Let's add another stream. Why have I got a black screen though? Oh, there we go. Now we're good. Cool. So, one more over here. Create a live video. Audience over here on Instagram will be public. Next. Hey Tabitha, I can't do anything for you at the moment, darling. Now my stream URL over here for Instagram. Let me modify that. Make sure I'm on the right place. Command V and copy. Okay, and that should be good to start now. And go live. Fingers crossed. Instagram's about to pick up. Go live. Good. Instagram should be working now. Now the tricky one. Facebook. I don't know why Facebook always gives me so much trouble, but it's the one that I need to see if I can get working now. Okay, so let me just talk you through what I'm doing here. I'm trying to get my live stream to also work on Facebook at the same time as YouTube and Instagram, so give me a moment. Hey Rachel, I'm looking forward to seeing what cocktail you post tonight, but at the moment I'm just trying to get my live streams all working and going together. But Facebook is being its usual helpful self, so just going to move my software around. So let's go to Facebook. Where are you hiding? So I need to create a live video on Facebook. I'm going to hit, I haven't figured out how to share my screen yet in this software, so I can't show you what I'm doing, sorry. Yes, it's definitely cocktail time, Rachel. I am looking forward to see what cocktail you are going to make. Let's see, so I'm pressing the go live button, so hopefully that's going to allow me to set my live up. Connect, yep, got my streaming software done. Copy my stream key. Now where's my settings gone? Over here. Let's modify this one. Put my stream key into there, because you've got to use a stream key now with Facebook when you're not using their software. So I'm going to click OK. Start, and hopefully nope, it's still telling me I haven't got a software connected. Okay. Oh, it looks like we're getting somewhere. We might be there. Just about there. So creating content is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Save that. Okay, looks like I can actually hit the go live button on Facebook. I believe we are now live on Facebook, which leaves one place, and that is TikTok, and I just got to hit the button on TikTok itself because I can't do TikTok in my software yet. Okay, here we go. So let's go live over here on TikTok as well. Okay, so TikTok's just doing a countdown. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Rachel, for the patience. Anyone else who's joining us, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda Sutherland, and I'm your creative content navigator. And one of the things I love to do is to help solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, especially us females who struggle to sometimes understand what we're doing or appreciate that we are actually able to do what we do, to help you understand that you can do what you want to do and help you work through your back end systems. And Hey Emma, long time no see. I have to come up to Queensland and catch up with you and Cameron at one point. That would be great to do. Well, hello. Okay, so basically I'm going to be talking about some tips tonight for creating content for your social media, because as we know, social media is taking over everything, and it's now a very, very big part of everything that we do now in business. It's a big part of business. So I'm going to try and cover a few different areas. Feel free to pop your questions in the chats and in the comments, and I will come back and answer them at some point. So feel free to say hi and let me know where you're watching from. And yeah, if depending on which platform you're on, feel free to like, tag and subscribe depending on what you're watching. Hey Marcel. So tonight we're going to look at some of the steps you need for creating your content. So the first one really in being able to create content on social media is understanding your audience, or as some people put it, understanding your client avatar, understanding your ideal client. There are many different ways of saying understanding who you are speaking to. So if you don't know who you're speaking to, you're not going to put out the right kind of content for them. If you know who you want to attract in your business, you need to understand, once you understand who you're talking to, who you want to work with, it becomes so much easier. So the first step in understanding your audience is defining your ideal client. So that's things like creating. When you're creating a detailed profile of your ideal client, some of the things you want to do consider their demographics. So, for example, in my business, most of my ideal client is mostly female businesses, female solopreneurs, sort of around the 35 to 50-ish mark. So that's their sort of age demographic, but mostly also have already done some form of study. So yeah, that's just a couple of little things I know about mine already. So another one is knowing who they are is also mine. Also struggle knowing what their pain points are, what their interests are, what they value. So another part of my ideal client is someone who's actually struggling with, for example, time management or branding, or understanding how colors work together to create your brand. There are so many different aspects of different things to consider, and sometimes if you're on your own too, you can't do this all by yourself. I'm going to talk about some of the tools I use to help me with my client research a little bit later on as well. So yeah, so things you can do. Actually, we're going to do that now. So some of the tools you can use to help understand your ideal client or your audience or your client avatar, whatever you want to call it, you can do surveys. Ask your friends, your families, do surveys. Ask your if you've got existing customers, survey them, find out more about them, because the more you know about your people, the better you can tailor your content to them. So that's, and for example, you might ask your service, let me try that again. Apparently I can't talk again tonight. Okay, so you might be so one of the things in your survey that you conduct, you might ask them what the biggest challenge in branding is for you. So by understanding what someone's biggest challenge point is, or pain point, whatever you want to call it, there are so many different terms. Let's just not focus on buzzwords, but understanding what is challenging them or what they're stuck on, that is actually going to help you generate content for your audience. So that's one example. Another thing you can do is to actually create audience personas. So what this is creating an avatar or a character that is yours. So like a lot of you would have seen my AI assistant called Faye. So she's sort of like a part of my audience avatar or my audience personas. So for example, for this you might create, or someone in my area might be, create a persona named Sarah. She's a 30-year-old solopreneur who wants to improve her social media presence. So when you start creating your social media for your audience, if you've got this in mind, you can actually start to think about, okay, if I'm talking to Sarah, how am I talking to her? What's working for her? What does she need to hear to help her in her journey? So by understanding that, and sometimes it just helps to have someone to talk to or someone to think about rather than this mysterious client avatar. Give it a name. And you think of it as a character or a person in the story. And yeah, so basically think about how you can incorporate this person into your advertising, how you can speak to this person. And yeah, it can be as simple as that. And sometimes, though, it can be really hard to understand that. So going a bit further forward, we can use storytelling. Using storytelling actually helps to make your content relatable, more engaging, and sharing personal experiences or client success stories. So for example, this week I've helped a really good friend of mine create a brand new logo for her business. That was awesome. She wasn't quite sure. She had a rough idea at the beginning of what she wanted, and by the end, I think we actually absolutely nailed it together. But talking to your client, listening to what they are, telling stories about them. Like I've had over the years, I've worked with so many different people creating images for them or creating branding ideas for them. Years and years ago, probably when I was in my 20s, I worked for a printer making labels for a little artisan business where they made their own lip balm. So I was helping them create their own brand with how they wanted to package their goods. So just talking to your clients and finding out what works for them is absolutely one of the best things you can do. And then putting that into a story. And that actually helps you to then talk to them. They know they're being listened to. They know that you're someone who will pay attention, and you will help them, and that they will feel heard. So being heard is one of the biggest things that we as a human or a person want. We all want to be heard. We don't want to be thought of as someone who ignores people. So yeah, it's just something to do is listening to everybody. So another thing that I like to do in particular is I like to avoid using jargon and complex language. I like to keep my content simple and easy to understand, because sometimes your client may not necessarily understand the technical jargon of your industry, of what you're trying to do for them. So our job as content creators is to help our clients understand our language. So it might be a matter of something as simple as saying, instead of saying utilizing my services, saying use my services. So that small change in the way we speak can actually help our audience to understand where we're coming from, and also over time it allows us to educate them to understand the jargon a little bit more. So I know some industries have an incredible amount of jargon and very specialized language, but if you're servicing that industry or working with that industry, somebody coming to it at the beginning of their journey may not understand it. They may not even know what it is. So by taking that step back and helping our audience to understand, it's one of the best things we can do to help make ourselves appear to be relatable and trustworthy. So another thing we can do with our content, it's absolutely amazing. There are so many things we can do. We are really limited by our imagination. So another thing we can do is to ensure that our content is offering valuable insights, tips, solutions to the problems that your audience is facing. So for an example, one of the things I do is I create a blog post with actionable tips. And if you check out my website, amandasutherland.com.au, you'll find loads of blog posts on there about, what have I got on there? I've got Canva, managing colours, going live on social media, all sorts of things. I'm about to start including things on mindset, time management, all of that sort of stuff. So by starting to understand who your audience is and listening to what they're struggling with, we can create content that helps them to understand how to move forward. So yeah, just take a moment to absorb that, because that's a big thing, because we can get focused on us and what we want to do, and when we're in business, that will kill the business. What we really need to do is learn to focus on what our customers want, what our audience want. And once we take the focus off us and more to the serving and being about who we're working with, who we're talking to, it's amazing how much more cut through our social media will get if it's not all about us. So that's something else to remember. So another tip we can do is using images, infographics and videos to make our content so much more engaging and much easier to digest. At the moment, as examples, on all of my social platforms, you will see loads and loads of info videos about colour, because I've got a free colour branding masterclass coming up. So if you're interested in that, and because there's so many, when you go to break colour down into how it helps your business, I could go on for hours and days and whatnot, but providing little snippets as snacks, bite-sized chunks of information that is easy to understand and really small and simple, and using strong, clear language, you make it a lot easier for your customer to understand. So that's one example, and I'll tell you some more about some of the tools I use to help me create those videos at the moment. There are so many tools out there to help us get it, help us. So another thing is we need to choose the right platforms for sharing our content on, and this is part of the audience research, is if you know who your audience are, you know which platforms they're on. So for example, in my case, I know my audience are currently watching me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and over there on Facebook. That's where my audience is. Once you look at who your audience is, you will understand where to find them. It might be TikTok, it might be, I think Snapchat's still a thing, I'm not 100% certain, but Snapchat might still be a thing. If you're into a more professional line of work, LinkedIn might be a thing. So there are lots of different things you need to know about your audience, including what kind of social media do they use. So that's one of the things you can do. So determining which social media platforms and online communities your audience frequent, it really helps you to understand who they are and what kind of content to create, because each platform has different types of content requirement and it uses things differently. So you do need to adapt your content to fit the format and the audience of each platform. So for example, share quick tips on Twitter, in-depth articles on LinkedIn, behind the scenes content on Instagram. So they're just a couple of little examples of what you can do to actually help you understand your audience and help you reach them and make your content relevant to them. So another thing we can do is actually to leverage email marketing. So anybody has done anything with business with it, build a list, but they don't necessarily tell you why you need to build a list. Building an email list where you send a regular newsletter with valuable content. Again, it's going to be valuable about them, what works for them. Educate them. It's going to be more about value than sales for newsletters. Work with valuable content, updates. It doesn't hurt to put in just because you're sending a newsletter doesn't mean you can't put in your upcoming event, your upcoming sales. But so long as you make your content in your newsletter mostly feel like it's about your clients, it will work a lot better. And by sending it regularly, so at least once a week, that keeps your name first and foremost in their mind. So by doing that, by seeing your name regularly, it helps cement the brand, helps create the brand, it helps people remember that you are there. So by doing, that's one major reason for sending newsletters. Is it's just a very simple, even if they don't read it straight away, it's a very simple and quick way to actually remind them who you are and what you're doing. So something else we can do is what we're doing right now. Live media, video media. We, in this day and age of things like TikTok and shorts and YouTube shorts and reels and things like that, people are more inclined to watch a video than they are to read. So creating a live stream like we are now, creating a reel, creating a video, it's one of the ways that we can actually engage our community easier and quicker, and it helps to build a loyal audience and foster a strong community. So that's one of the things you can do to actually really get feedback from your audience straight away, because they're going to tell you whether they like what you're doing or not. They are going to tell you very quickly, and it's a great way to have almost like a conversation with them. And another way to encourage interaction with your audience is things like I did at the beginning. Share your questions in the comments and I'll come back to them. What's your biggest, ask some questions like, what is your biggest branding challenge? Share in the comments below, and then as we can go along, I can respond. You can respond. I can see Marcel's loving her new business card, which is fantastic. Thank you, Marcel. I've got people over on TikTok who are just saying hi. So hello, everyone. So by interacting with your clients live, it actually helps them, again, feel heard, feel respected, feel trusted, feel worthy. Because a lot of times people don't feel worthy if they don't think they're being heard. So looking after your client by talking to them and with them, it will do wonders for your ability to build a relationship with them, because it's all about relationships these days. So another thing you can do is, if you're doing a live like I am now, you can take time to actually, after the live has finished, to go back and respond to any questions that you've missed during the live and give that particular person a personalized reply or additional tips. So, and as we're talking, next thing in my notes is using, sorry, my chair's rolling away on me. And don't be afraid to be you, be real. Don't think you have to put on a mask all the time, or a face, or whatever you want to call it. Just be you. That authenticity of you being who you are, it's going to do wonders. It cuts through all the information out there faster than trying to be somebody else. So always remember to be you. So yeah. So lots of different things we're doing here. Polls, quizzes, interactive stories. They can be great way. Actually, like platforms like Instagram, they have these little sticker things that allow you to have an interactive story. So stories and reels, all that sort of short form content that gives everybody bite-sized information, that's the stuff that people want these days, is short, snappy, blah. And another thing you should look at doing is, it's probably not in my notes, but this is something I do every week after I've done this live every Friday night, is I then repurpose my lives and cut out little short, snappy bits that are really clear content, they're really useful for people to hear. So it becomes, instead of, so like if I go live for about half an hour, by the time I'm finished with the editing, I'll have about 20 little short videos in that small digestible amount of information that people can handle. And it's also a great way to build your following. I have noticed since I've started doing that, using the reels and the stories, my following has increased, massively increased. And my reach increases with that. And if you're doing the same thing, your reach and your following will increase as well. So it's a matter of, again, understanding your audience and knowing where to go with them. So another thing that's really useful when you're trying to understand your audience is tracking what they call metrics. Now, some of you may not know what that is, but it's about looking at, or like Facebook, for example, gives you your insights. I think it's insights for Instagram. Basically, all the information that you can get from with the programs that you are using, it actually helps. You can actually understand where they're viewing, which parts of your content is popular, what is working, what's not. So you might look at, say, the Facebook Insights, and it will say this video was the top video for the week. You can actually look at that post and then go, okay, that's working really well, let's create more of that. So, and you could also look at it going, oh, that one didn't work. Let's stop doing that. Let's try something else. Because social media is a constant supply of test and trial and just trying things that find out what works. Because what works today may not work tomorrow. So it's constant trial and error. And don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of that, because it is essential. It's part of business. It's just part of it. So another way of analysing your audience feedback is to simply just pay attention to what comments they're giving you, what they're messaging you. That's just, yeah. For example, if multiple audience members request content on a specific topic, why not consider doing a dedicated series? And you can do this whether it be a blog post, a video series, whatever works for your audience, do it. So, and this is part of the adjusting your strategy area that comes into this. So when you've used your insights to refine your content strategy and you're starting to focus on creating more of what resonates with your audience. So for example, if one video content performs better than written content, spend more time creating video content. Just one very simple thing. But stay consistent. Consistency is absolutely crucial for building trust and maintaining engagement with your audience. That's why I'm live here every Friday night at 6 o'clock Sydney time or Hobart time. It's I do that every Friday night, and I do it most nights, even when I'm sick. So, but if something pops up, because I do work in theatre as well, I sometimes get called in at last minute to do shows. I let people know I'm not going to do a live, and that's part of creating that consistency so that people get to know, like, and trust you. And as we all know, that's absolutely essential for running a business, is having people understand who you are and that knowing that they can trust you. So, and something else you really can consider is creating a content calendar. And what that means is simply plan your content in advance to make sure that you are consistently posting. So things, and that's, for example, like your content calendar could contain when you're going to do a blog post, social media updates, newsletters. All of that can actually be put onto a calendar so that you can stay consistent. Now, there are lots of programs out there that allow you to post and schedule inside the program to all of your media platforms at once. And if you are interested in more of that, let me know. I do have a couple I can suggest to you. Things like that. There's just so many different things you can do. Batch content creation, that's something we do here, is we create batches of content. So it might create a month ahead so that we can schedule it out and it just happens and I don't have to worry about it. It's batch creating your social media posts for, say, the week ahead. But when you do it, make sure you stay true to your brand voice. You need to maintain that consistent tone, consistent style, and make sure it's one that reflects who you are and your brand's personality. So, for example, if your brand voice is friendly and approachable, make sure everything you do is friendly and approachable. Don't suddenly go down a very narrow sort of aggro style path. You've got to stay true to who you are and your brand values. So you can also use something called user generated content. And that's also using things like TikTok videos and things like taking other people's videos and commenting on them. And just incorporating everybody's ideas together to create videos and content for your audience. It's really just a matter of working together and creating those collaborations and helping create that sense of community around what you do. So yeah, we just need to also invite your audiences to participate and share their experiences. Get them to ask them for testimonials. Because I did hear a stat, when was it? Several years ago now, where most businesses forget to ask for testimonials. It's incredible, isn't it? We, as business owners, we tend to forget to ask someone to give us a testimonial. But testimonials that are genuine from your audience, they are so helpful and they're so important because it gives an unbiased view of how your services and your team and your business is treating your customers. So looking at that and taking that back in is amazing. You can even ask At times you can even say to somebody, hey, look, why don't you share this using this hashtag? And then you can search that hashtag to see what everybody's done. There's just so many options for us. Things like contests and challenges that basically encourage your audience to create and share content for you or content for them. So for example, one thing that would work for my audience would be at some point for me to host a challenge where participants are sharing their branding journey for a chance to win a free consultation. So that sort of thing can actually help people tell you what they're struggling with. It can help and create excitement and buzz around your brand. So there's so many different things we can do. What we're talking about tonight, it really is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many things, and remember, there are so many tools out there to help us now. Now, I know AI is a very hotly contested subject at the moment for a lot of people, but I have to admit, I do love my AIs. They help me keep up with the sheer volume of content because we're across 4 platforms, and that's a lot of content because nobody likes you using the same content across each platform anymore. As soon as you do that, your reach goes down, so you've got to create new pieces of content for every single platform. So I use things like ChatGPT to help me research my market. It's amazing what you can find in it when you've trained your bots and train how to talk for you, and it's amazing how much it can help you understand who your audience is and help you create the content that works for them. It can help you actually write your content. I even use it tonight to help me provide a guideline for this video so I can stay on track. It's amazing what you can do with it. You can also, there's lots of image creation software out there now. There's lots of video software. Some of the video software I use and absolutely love in my business is something called Opus Clip. Now, it's a program where I can helps me repurpose these videos. Because they're a bit longer, I can upload the YouTube version of this video into Opus Clip, walk away, have my dinner, come back, and there's 20 videos ready to go. It's fully edited, nothing for me to do. And I do have an affiliate link for that if you are interested. Another program I'd love to use is something called InVideo. So that allows me to, again, using the help of ChatGPT to help me get the structure right and make sure that I'm staying on point and getting all of the knowledge I have concise enough for a short video. I can use that to create videos which are less than a minute long, or at most a minute long, that give short, concise information with very actionable tips that can help. So there are lots of different tools out there that can help you create the content that you need. Don't be afraid to use them. I know a lot of people actually are concerned about AI taking over the world and taking over jobs, but at the moment I feel AI, yes, it's still in its infancy, but there's something definitely to look at as a tool. It's not going to replace us. It's just going to be like the Industrial Revolution, where our understanding of what things do and can do will shift. It's like when I went to school, there's no way in the world we could even dream about doing a live stream like we're watching now and doing now. That wasn't even technologically possible. So by understanding and integrating these new technologies that can help you get your content under control, that's something that you can do for yourself as well. That will help you understand your business and your clients. So basically, thank you for joining tonight's session on creating content that connects. I'm Amanda Sutherland, and I look forward to seeing all the amazing content everyone creates. If you have any further questions or need any more resources, please visit my website, amandasutherland.com.au, and reach out to me. Ask your questions. I'll do what I can. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next Friday night at 6 p.m. Hobart time, or Sydney time if you're not from Australia. Anyway, bye for now, everyone. I'll see you then.